So, guys, in this next news story, the leader of the notorious street gang Marley Boys, who killed two young men to avenge the death of his friend, has been jailed for at least 36 years. On November the 16th, 2017, Hamza Ul-Haq planned and executed the fatal group stabbing of 18-year-old Qasem Mokrain in Walthamstow in East London. Months later, he was involved in the mistaken identity murder of 20-year-old Joseph Williams Torres, who was shot dead as he sat in a van with a friend in March 2018. Both killings were in revenge for the murder of Ul-Haq's 17-year-old friend Elijah Donnelly in May 2017. The murders were associated with the Marley Boys gang, which had been engaged in a bloody feud with the neighbouring Priory Court or Higham Hill gang in Walthamstow. In 2020, Ul-Haq was found guilty of Mr. Williams Torres' murder and was jailed for life with a minimum term of 28 years. And in May 2023, he was convicted of Mr. Mokrain's murder alongside Abdi Rizik Ali, who's 26, Luca Griffiths, who's 21, and Kamil Kazmierski, who's 23. At a hearing at the Old Bailey yesterday, the judge, Angela Rafferty, jailed the three men for life. She told Ul-Haq he had played a pivotal role in planning the murder and had been recorded vowing revenge after being targeted in an acid attack 2 days earlier. She handed him a minimum term of 36 years to take account of the subsequent killing. She told him, "I cannot send you to prison for the whole of your life because the law does not allow it. You may never be released if the parole board decide it is safe not to do so." Ali was told he would spend at least 17 years in jail. Griffiths was sentenced to 14 years and 4 months, and Kazmierski was given 16 years. The judge said the killing of Mr. Mokrain came amid a bloody and vengeful feud between gangs and involved significant planning and the use of horrific knives being openly brandished. She recognised the impact on the victim's family, who no longer feel safe in their community and are tortured and traumatised by what Mr. Mokrain must have felt as he was killed in the street. In a victim impact statement read to the courts previously, Mr. Mokrain's grandmother raised concerns over the delay in seeing justice for her grandson at the start of the healing process. She said, "The family have waited over 5 years for Qasim's murder to be brought to court, where the family had to go through the whole event again due to these animals denying their guilt or making excuses for the part they played in Qasim's murder. There are those in this pack who went on to commit further criminal activities and even another murder, identifying that they were out of control and dangerous." Mr. Mokrain was described by his family as a big personality and had been enjoying an apprenticeship at Thamesmead Football Club and had ambitions to become a professional footballer. So the court was told the immediate trigger for his revenge murder was the acid attack on Ul-Haq and others in Subway and Downtown Pizza in St. James Street, Walthamstow, 2 days earlier. Mr. Mokrain had pizza and told his mother he loved her before leaving his home on the evening of the attack. 2 cars pulled up and 10 males got out and chased him down the road. Ul-Haq was leading the chase with the attackers waving knives, including a zombie knife. For 25 seconds, Mr. Mokrain was surrounded, pushed up against the wall and suffered serious injuries, including damage to his bowel and stab wounds to his leg, and he died 4 days later. Jurors are told that the incident happened amid a series of violent retaliatory attacks between rival territorial gangs, the Marley Boys, with whom the 10 attackers were associated with, and the Priory Court Higham Hill gang. Prosecutor Alison Hunter KC told the jurors their eagerness to exact their swift revenge typically resulted in either the careless mistaken identification of their specific target or else in acts of indiscriminate violence against any member of a rival grouping. So guys, just a little bit of context with regards to who the Marley Boys are. So the Marley Boys apparently run Britain's most dangerous street, Valentin Road, and are said to earn up to £50,000 a week from dealing drugs. More than 250 men and women belong to 12 gangs in Walthamstow, with those at the top of the Marley Boys originally coming to Britain as children from Somalia. Families in the area said to have become so terrified by the constant tit-for-tat street violence that they refuse to leave their homes at night. The Marley Boys are said to be the most business-driven, violent and ruthless type of gang and keep away from social media in order to keep their activities secretive. This includes using all Nokia phones to carry out daily activities as they are more difficult to track down. A rival gang member once previously stated those people come from countries where it's war-torn. Some are ex-soldiers and they've seen some crazy stuff happen in front of them. The gang are also known to use Facebook to monitor police and have used boys as young as 10 to hang around police station and note the number of officers' private cars. There was a study which was published back in 2019 and it identified the Mali boys as an example of how groups are becoming more organised and ruthless. So Professor Andrew Whitaker from the South Bank London University 4 years ago wrote, although the Mali boys may appear to be a local phenomenon, there is growing evidence that they are part of a wider pan-London development as gangs become more organised. So looking into them a little bit further, the gang were responsible for the murder of 14-year-old Jaden Moody in January 2019. There was graphic CCTV footage which showed Jaden, who had links to a rival gang, being stabbed up to 9 times during a horrific 14-second attack in Leighton in East London. The gang members had set out in stolen Mercedes into rival Beaumont Crew territory in what became a killing mission. Ayub Majduline was then 19, knocked Jaden off his scooter before the fatal attack took place, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 21 years in December 2019. 5 members of the gang were also jailed last January after they used 3,000 bottles of prescription medication to conceal vast quantities of Class A drugs. Brian William, Hashi Abdi, Osama Uburi, Munta Haq and Azam Ahmad were involved in the supply of drugs into Essex and were caught by police travelling to Essex in September 2020. A large quantity of Class A drugs was found in the front passenger seat of the silver Ford Focus, with further wraps thrown from the car prior to a search. A later raid at an address in Romford found further drugs along with scales, 7 mobile phones and the medication bottles, and they were jailed for a combined total of 16 years. Then it came to this case, Abdurazak Ali, Luca Griffiths and Kamil Kamirski, who were found guilty of murdering Mr. Mokrane alongside Mr. Ul-Haq back in November 2017, and these guys were also associated with the Mali boys. So guys, this man here, he's been done for 2 murders. Now, with regards to the first one, it was a mistaken identity. So the lad was called Joseph William Torres. He was 20 years old at the time, and he was targeted by the 3 hooded youths as he sat in a van. So the attackers mistakenly identified him as a member of a rival gang, pulled out a gun and fired before running off in less than 2 minutes. Mr. Torres was a victim and he was hit in the chest and legs, and he died on the way to the hospital less than an hour later. And at the time, the prosecutor Alison Hunton QC told the jurors that the shooting was part of a series of related and retaliatory acts of violence, and it had roots in a dispute between rival groups of youths. And for this one, Hamza, there was another lad called Loic Ngisi, who's 19, and a 16-year-old. They were found guilty of murder. So guys, I just want to say rest in peace to the victims in this case, and my condolences go out to your family. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.